Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories by the Campfire. We are your counselors, Jeremy,
And Jason.
and tonight we are looking at Friday the 13th, Part 3. The movie in which Jason Voorhees gets the iconic hockey mask, the one we all know and love. So, Jason, why don't you take it away for us? What did you think of this
Um,
movie?
Definitely the better one so far. It's definitely better than.
The best one so far?
Yeah, I feel that it's the best one so far.
Okay,
I
why is
mean,
that?
you're comparing. I mean, we're right now we're comparing the first one, the second one to this one, and I think at least for me, it's a little bit better because the cast of characters is a little bit more recognizable. They're a little bit more. Um, I mean, they're likable characters to an extent. You know, it's not like some of the other characters where um they they're there just to be killed off. But a lot of these characters do have personalities, at least the way that I saw it, and it makes it more interesting of a movie when the characters are relatable and relatively likable. I mean, I don't think there's like one character that I really just did not like. Um, I know when we were doing uh, Monday movie night, we made a lot of fun of Rick because of his just kind of he had he had
Boring
the
old Rick.
he had the he had the what's the word I am looking for? He had the liveliness of Nancy from the first Nightmare movie. You know, he could have been an interesting character, but he just I mean, you let a couple of your friends, or at least your I guess girlfriend's friends, take your car down to the store, and they come back with broken windshields and broken windows, and you're just kind of like, what happened to my vehicle?
I know.
And we had to run in with some bikers. Oh, you just don't have. Come on, man, step it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is as you said before, this is the first movie where you actually get to see Jason in his iconic hockey mask, and this kind of the second personality, I would say, because you can look at these movies and each movie have like a different Jason personality. Maybe when we get to the Kane Hodder stuff, like later on, you kind of get to see the same type of Jason because he kind of plays them the same. But early on, you got different actors playing these Jasons, and this one definitely was a whole lot more different than the second one.
Yeah, this one was played by Richard Brooker. Um, I really honestly don't know who he is. But I think one of the things that I personally liked about it was they kept the realism of human in this Jason because he is still a real person. You know, he hobbled around after he got stabbed in his knee, and he's like hobbling through the woods chasing after her. You know, he got stabbed a couple times, hit in the face. Like, there was just some good realism to it that I think is what really, in my opinion, um brought it to life. Um, but let's talk about these, likable characters that you talked about, and to kind of piggyback off of what Buck Hunter said here, and that is uh, a nice little picture of him all. Rick, monotoned acting. So let's start with Mr. Monotone. um,
I mean, compared to I, he is definitely the final girl boyfriend. I think we had what was it, Paul in the last movie who had that same type of role, but he was a little bit more enthusiastic. He had a little bit more, you know, like I said,
Definitely.
I'm not saying that this character was bad because he didn't really do well. Okay, hold on. He did get creepy in the beginning. There was like when she walked into the house for the first time, and he just like covered her. You just see like the hand come out and grab her, drag her over to the corner, and then just start making out with her. And she didn't even realize he was there at the time. That's bro. This is a little creepy. Okay, that's and to find out that she's coming back after was it
uh,
how long would
I think they said it was
she
like 3 years.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It was 3 years, where they have like this flashback where she is attacked by Jason in the woods, and you don't know exactly what happens, but she just kind of blacks out and wakes up at the house or whatever. And if he's aware of this, wow, like Rick, seriously, man, she's already going through like a traumatic event, and now you are going to add on to it. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the characters are pretty all right. I mean, they're very, I, they're stereotypical, is what they are. You have the two, you have the stoner couple who like literally just smoked throughout the entire movie. It didn't matter what they were doing.
Oh yeah.
Fix
He went.
fix a breaker, fix a breaker, gotta smoke. Gotta use the bathroom, gotta
I was about
smoke.
to say he
You
went
know.
out to that outhouse and he's lighting up.
You had your other couple, which were just the you had you had your drug couple, you had your sex couple. We were only missing the rock and roll couple. Um,
No, that was replaced with the biker couple.
they weren't a couple; they were just a gang.
No, the two were a couple. The one lonely white man was not in the group, but the other two were a couple. You didn't see the
They
way
weren't
she
a
was
couple.
hanging all over him.
Oh god, no, that's just because he was boss man. But then you had was it Shelly and Vera, who was like the hey, this is my friend, hook up with him, and I gotta go. My boy Shelly there. That's in the Friday the 13th game. That's the one that I play all
Oh,
the time.
jeez, that is very
Yeah,
true.
that is yes, it is very true. I play as him all the time. But yeah, overall there wasn't like anyone in the group itself. I was just like, oh, I don't like this guy. I mean, you can do that with like the first movie. You can almost forget who the characters are because they're just killed off so quick. And then the second one, you lose half your cast at a party.
Yep.
They just go out of town and then never come back. But this group of characters was a bit more like, well, I didn't like ever see anyone that I just couldn't stand looking at. So I guess
Yeah.
that's
Rick was played by Paul Kratka, and Shelley was played by Larry Zerner. And I don't know. I was annoyed by Shelley. I wanted to smack that fool across the face one good time.
yeah. I mean, his idea of trying to get attention is literally scaring people by faking deaths and whatnot, which in the end didn't help him because he was like, he had his throat slit, and
It's the boy who cried
uh,
wolf.
yep, and he's like, and the one stoner girl was like, yeah, you can't pull that on us anymore. But
So,
yeah, it was
speaking of Final Girl, what did you think of Chris compared to Alice and I'm already drawing a mind blank on number two.
number two was yeah, I don't know.
If anybody can help us out, that'd be great. But obviously, I think Chris was the better of Alice. I like Chris a little bit better than Alice.
This may just be me, but I don't remember Chris too much. I know she was. Um,
Rick. Rick.
they do that in every movie now. I'm noticing that they do that in every movie. The first one was Bill. Bill. And then the second movie, it's Paul. Paul. Now this one, it's Rick. It's but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chris was okay, I guess. I mean, as a character, she's not a bad character. I mean, she is coming. I mean, it's her place. I mean, the place is called Higgins Haven, or yeah, Higgins Haven, I think is what it's called. And yeah, she's Chris Chris Higgins. Oh, I don't know, but um, yeah, I just seem to
Jenny.
remember the
That was her name.
from
Jenny.
Chennai. From the second one. Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I think I like. You know what? No, no, I'm gonna go with Chris was. Uh, Chris was brutal. Now that I'm remembering kind of the end of the movie, she was waiting around the corners for Jason just to bop him with something. Shovel, big block of wood. She was hitting him with everything. But on the other hand, Jenny did trick him into thinking that, yeah, I'm gonna go with Jenny. Jenny was a little bit better than Chris. I think it's Jenny, um, Jenny, Chris, and then Alice. And I have to put Alice on the bottom because she didn't really go against Jason. She went against Jason's mom, so she's not really comparable.
So, one little fun fact the house, barn, and lake were all built on location. And the man made lake wasn't properly sealed, and all the water drained into the soil during the first week of filming, so they had to redo it.
Hmm. Yeah, I was actually I was noticing that water was really it was like a creek. I think we even mentioned it was very creek like. It was very not so crystal lake. You sneezing over there, Jeremy?
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, man.
But yeah, it was just a dirty looking creek, is what it looked like, or a river. It didn't even look like a lake.
Yeah,
But
it looked like.
I did like that. I did like the fact that they built that location, and like the interior is very interesting. That the spiral staircase that went up
I
and up and
really
down.
did. I agree. I really liked the cabin inside. I thought it was really well set up. I thought it was very different comparatively to the other stuff. And it just it made it more real. But then let's talk about our main man Jason, Mr. Fat Neck Dopey Jason here.
Jason, good old
So,
Jason. This is
do you think this Jason is better than in part two?
mm, that's a hard one because I mean this is the first time you actually get to see him in the hockey mask, which is his most iconic thing. And I am definitely going to say that by the end of this series, we're going to be talking about Kane Hodder's Jason as being probably the best Jason
Oh, definitely.
because he just brings so much intensity. I mean, this Jason, sh- there's that really great scene we were laughing at when he's out on the dock and he gets his first kill with
Oh,
the
yeah.
harpoon.
This one right here. That little one right there. He just walks out on that dock all nonchalantly with
Yeah, and
that
then he
spear gun, and he doesn't even aim it. He just sits there and he's just like picks up, points it, bam.
and it, and it goes right through her eye, and he just kind of goes, huh, and then he just walks right off the dock like nothing even happened. Like he wasn't even impressed with his own shot. He just this Jason. I'm gonna go with like Baghead Jason had like there was kind of a very stalker-ish feel to him.
Yes, I can see that.
This guy, this Jason was like he was just a beast. He was like no real stalking or anything. He just came up and was killing people, and he was a bit more inventive too. I mean, he used the breaker box
Yep,
on
to
the one
kill
guy
the one hippie dude. He used the
uh,
cauterized or the heated up fire poker,
to kill his
um,
girlfriend. Yeah.
and to kill the girlfriend. Yep. Then he shoots the harpoon gun.
Mm-hmm.
He
Crushes Rick's skull with his bare hands. Just.
we're gonna get to that one. Just hold on. We're gonna get to that one. Um, he pinned the biker chick to the railing of the barn with a pitchfork,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then stabbed the other biker with the other pitchfork.
Yeah.
Chopped off the third biker's hand in the final fight, and then just hacked away at him.
Yeah.
Shelly had his throat slit.
Yeah.
Um,
He cut that one, the handstand kid, just
cut
straight in
him
half.
straight in half. We had the reinventing of the Baconator with the
Yeah.
machete through the bottom of a. I can't think of her name.
I don't know, but she was pregnant.
Yep.
That didn't go nowhere.
Was it Debbie? I think it was Debbie.
Debbie, I think.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
Debbie. She
Debbie.
she got the recreation of the Baconator.
Mm-hmm. With
Uh,
the knife through the back.
and then like Raven said, he was able to pull himself out of the noose.
Yeah, that took some body strength right there, bro. He got knocked out the top of that bar and he was just hanging there. He had to have hung there for like, oh god, he had to have been there for at least a couple minutes because she climbed down the barn and had to open up the locked barn doors and open it. He's still just hanging there, and then he just reaches up, grabs that noose, pulls himself up, lifts up. And he lifts his mask up because that's the first time you get to see his face. And he pulls the noose off, puts his mask back down, drops down. I'm like, okay, this guy means business.
Okay, so with all of these things that happened, all these kills, which was your favorite?
Which was my favorite kill.
What was your favorite kill in this one? Since all of them were super impressive.
Oh, my favorite kill. My favorite kill is probably what's his name, the handstand guy, because that's probably the most brutal death you got in the entire kind of movie. Um,
Mine is a three-way tie.
of course it is.
It's between Handstand Boy,
Uh huh.
Spearhead Face. Because, I mean, come on. One shot through the eyeball with a spear gun.
I mean, yeah, and I know like, and here's the thing. Here's it. Okay, what's your last one? And we'll get into it.
This one right here. Oh, Ricky. Oh, monotone Ricky.
Oh god, that face. That fake face.
Um, so, and the reason why this is actually probably my favorite kill out of the entire movie, I don't even think it's a three-way tie. I think just looking at this makes it my favorite. No, what makes it my favorite is the simple fact that she came out of the house and he's literally around the corner being strangled and
Mm-hmm.
she didn't even know. And he's trying to like kick his foot out.
Yeah, that's the first time I noticed that when we were watching it on Monday that he was actually trying to like kick his leg out. And I'm like, you're next to the wall. Kick the wall. Just because some guy has your mouth closed up where you can't say anything, you're trying to stick your foot out. And she's on a porch, okay? So he's got to kick his leg kind of high so she even notice. Because he was not, I don't think he was like on the porch itself. But I'm telling you, you can kick your leg like that, kick it against the wall. Well, bang, 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 and but yeah, that could have led to her death. Who knows? Got two for one. Put our heads together. But
Watching his
yeah,
eyeballs like splurge out of his head.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing right there. The two kills that you mentioned, which is the harpoon through the eye and Rick's head getting crushed and having the eye fly out. When it comes to these types of movies, eyeball stuff makes me queasy. Like anything that deals with eyes just makes me go, ugh. I don't like any sort of eye injury, eye anything like that. This movie did not do that for me because first of all, when you see the eye do the 3D, and for everyone at home, this movie was done in 3D. We were watching the non 3D version on Monday, and let me tell you,
Whoa.
any movie that is supposed to be in 3D and you watch it in non 3D, if they're doing like those 3D gimmicky things where they're putting stuff in front of the camera and like trying to make it pop out, it's silly looking. It really is. And so Rick's death, head crush, eye is supposed to go out on this like little wire and come out towards the camera, and it is so fake looking that I'm, just the idea is like you. If I've never seen this movie and I was reading, like the synopsis of it or whatever, and it says, yeah, and then Jason gets Rick's head and squeezes his head so hard that his eyes fly out of his head, or I might go, oh, gross. That sounds really gross. And then I watch him going, what was that? Is that like an eye on a string? And Debbie got the harpoon through the eye, but you don't really see anything. It's just kind of makeup, to make it look like it went in there. So yeah, definitely not. I just think I like the handstand one because it's a little bit more creative. Even though I don't know why he was just handstanding all of a sudden, like the 10 minutes before he's dead, all he's doing is handstands. And Jason got him like right between the legs, splitting. I think the way it happens is like so quick is whack, and it's like kind of down to the stomach, and you don't really get to see it. It's shot real nice because it was done up on like a plexiglass floor, so they could shoot up while it was happening. And you see the body crumple, and then the next time you see it, you get to see kind of the after effects when he's up in the rafters. You get to see
Yeah.
the whole kind of. So I was like, ew, that's kind of gross. So with that being said, that's probably why it's my favorite kill because it looked a little bit better.
Yeah, I can see that. And, with everything happening with it, and especially with the 3D stuff, like you said, these movies that are filmed specifically for 3D, God, it makes some of the 3D stuff so, like you said, goofy. And it's not like this movie is subtle about it by any stretch of the imagination. No, they are
No.
they are literally smacking you in the face as many times as they can with these 3D shots. I mean, it happens what? I would say 5 minutes into the movie, but the first 15 to 20, it's a literal recap of what was going on in the last like 30 minutes of the second movie.
Yeah, pretty much recap the last 30 minutes of the movie.
So, but as soon as we get to the first two, the store owners who that was just a trip to watch.
They're eating their own food and putting it back on the shelf.
He opened up his orange juice and was like, "Glug glug glug." Put that right back on the shelf. I'm gonna open this thing of donuts, eat a couple bites from it, stick it right back in the box, and shut it.
He was eating the fish food.
But like just starting with that, he's got the whole pole out in the yard, and they're immediately going into the 3D stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and from that point on, it's just 3D stuff after 3D stuff after 3D stuff. The yo-yo up and down. The biker punching through the windshield of the Volkswagen.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff that's being put into that 3D. And it's sad, in my opinion, because back then, that was the way to do the 3D stuff. But nowadays, there's you can actually film the entire movie in 3D and stuff like that, or they slap the 3D filter on it where they're not just constantly pointing stuff at the camera or doing stuff at the camera to make it 3D. Um, and I know when we get to the series, we can kind of talk about it, but they did the same thing in My Bloody Valentine's remake. When they made that one into 3D, they did a lot of that towards the camera to add the 3D effect to it.
Jaws 3D.
Jaws 3D. Sweet Lord, that was fun. Can't wait to talk about that series too. But it was, those were some of the low points of the movie. I think that they didn't, with 3D being what it was back then and it being the big hype at the time, that's probably why they did. But I think if they would have kind of slid away from that, the actual filming could have been a little bit better.
Do we know who? Let me see what we got. Jason. Who do you know who plays Jason in the next movie? Is it Kane Hodder, or does he come out like Zombie Jason?
I think Kane Hodder starts Jason Lives, if I'm not mistaken. I'm about 95% sure that Kane Hodder doesn't come in until part 6. Because I know part 4 is not Kane Hodder. And I know part 5 is not Kane Hodder.
No.
So,
his first one was New Blood.
So part 7?
Yeah, 7. He did New Blood, Jason Takes Manhattan, The Final Friday, Jason X.
Okay.
And then he did the motion cap for the Jason in the game.
Yes.
Like all of them.
I did know that. Wow. So apparently, as you know, Paramount Pictures owned Friday the 13th during this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was their first 3D film since Ulysses, which came out in 1954.
That's a long time.
And then this movie was actually filmed in California.
Yeah, I think most of this one was shot. Yeah, they didn't do this one on the East Coast like they did with the first two, which probably leads to its much more big budgeted look and whatnot. But
So I just read something that is quite funny, and I don't think it's funny because that's what they thought about, but it's funny because that's what I think about. So in the original script, Rick was supposed to be named Derek. But they changed it because it has one less syllable and easier to scream. Just like Paul and Bill.
I never really thought about that. Rick! Rick! Yeah, it's easier just to say Rick.
Oh my god.
Not like that extra syllable would have added any personality.
And apparently the reason they went for 3D is because audiences had caught on to their storytelling formula and they needed something new to add in. That way it wasn't the same retelling as in 2. So they added the 3D element to kind of
Yeah, that's the problem with these movies is that we've watched 3 of them so far. And technically it's been like the same movie 3 times. Teenagers go out to a place that's secluded. and someone kills them, and that's it. There is no kind of update to it besides the 3D. There is no different scenarios. I mean, I guess what separates two from one is that it's actually Jason instead of his mom, but it's still the same concept. And he actually grunted in that one, I remember. Or was it this one?
He grunted a little bit in the second one when he got hit. Like you can hear him grunt a tiny bit, like when he gets hit in the shoulder with the machete. But
Oh,
like
he
this,
grunted.
but this one, oh, he was grunting all over the place, man. He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
and ah.
yeah. They would the thing when she stabbed him in the leg or whatever. He went. Ugh! I was like, wow, he actually makes noise. He ain't so silent, is he? You won't get a whole lot of that once. Oh, wow, geez, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched the later movies, so um, it's gonna be interesting. But the iconic hockey mask.
Ah, yes, the iconic hockey mask, and it's
Yeah.
definitely the start of it. Because now we're gonna get into the where you start recognizing what Jason movie you're in based off of the hockey mask itself.
You know how they did the hockey mask, Jeremy?
What do you mean? Like who decided on it?
No, like you know how they made it.
Oh,
It's not just a hockey
no.
mask.
I actually don't. I remember reading something about it, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's actually a clear mask that they painted underneath it. That
Ah,
way, the paint wouldn't chip off the front of it when they were doing scenes and whatnot.
that makes sense.
So, it's actually is
That's creative.
yeah, and you'll get to see that the hockey mask actually is almost its own thing because throughout the movies it changes appearance.
And that's what I
Um,
was touching up with earlier. Is like you know which movie you're in based off of the mask itself.
or Jared Padalecki's haircut for all you supernatural fans out there.
So,
Oh, actually, which is a bit weird because he makes it an appearance. He's in the remake, so not too far off from that one.
yeah, but like so, like this one. This is where the brand new one. It's clean. It's clear. It hasn't. He just got it. But like in the next one, it's got some blood on the front. It's got the chip up in the corner from where he got hit in the head with the axe.
Yeah, that fool got hit in the head with an axe in his head in this movie. And he's just kind of like, just shrugs off. I This guy is sometimes just a beast. I want to know if the next Jason is Derpy Jason. I gotta see.
Oh man, derpy
Because I want to
derpy
know.
Jason.
I want to know if he gets the derpy eye from the axe.
I don't know. In this one, you could barely see his eyes. It's like the mask was too low on his head, and like his eyes were at the top of the eye holes.
Yeah, he didn't have like the.
It's almost like it didn't fit.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like sometimes is that it didn't.
But I also noticed, like in the game, 3 of the characters from the game come from this movie.
Yeah, I did notice that a lot of the characters did come from a lot of the characters did come from this game. It's kind of weird.
Or
I
this
don't think
movie.
I don't.
You mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking that this technically it's not the characters themselves. I think a lot of them
Well,
are based off of the
yeah,
characters. I think Shelley may be the only one who really comes from this
yeah. I
because I
mean,
think he's actually voiced by the same guy too.
I know they're all technically based off of these characters, but I mean, like I said though, you got Shelly from this movie's in the game. Uh, the hippie dude, who I can't think of his name.
His name was Chuck.
Oh yeah, Chuck. Chuck is in the game, and
Is it
then
Chuck?
I believe so.
Um,
And then Fox is also in the game.
yes, Fox is in the game. I think they did that because the actress died, or she had passed away, and they wanted to tribute her by putting her in the game.
But that's like 3 of the like 8 playable characters that you can be, all in like the one game itself. So it's funny how when they made the game and they were picking characters based off of the movies, they didn't even go back. I don't think any of the ones from 1 and 2 are in the game.
Um, they got a character called Jenny, but she's actually. It looks like she's actually based off of Chris Higgins.
Okay, so that's 4
Um,
from 3.
okay, so Mitch Floyd is actually Chuck's character. Um, Tommy Jarvis, which this one appears, I think, in part 6.
Yep, it's Jason Lives. It isn't Kid Tommy, and it's not Bound Muscly Tommy from part 5.
Yeah, part 5. Tommy was just.
He looked like Jason in this movie, big and bulky. Like he could take an axe to the head and, shake it off like it's nothing. Sure. So, but then that begs a question like, what all uh what more do we have to go on for the next movies? Are we going to get the same plot over and over again? I mean, we all know the answer is yes, but you know, back in, 19, I think 84 when this movie came out, and everyone's 82, my bad, when this movie came out, they're watching it for the same formula again, except with 3D. So do they think part 4 would have been the same formula again?
Be hard to say. Trying to remember exactly what. Um, I don't think there's too much. I know we actually have kind of like a side subplot because you have uh, in part 4 we have Tommy Jarvis showing up for the first time, who, in my opinion, is kind of like the big opposite of Jason. He appears in like the three movies, and he's played by a young Corey Feldman, who I think was like before he did Goonies or whatnot.
It was because
But
it was right before he hadn't done Stand By Me either.
yeah, I know because they did when they did part 5. Um, they did that like little recap. No, was it part 5? They did the recap. I don't know. I think it was part 5 where they had him in the rain. It was uh, Corey Feldman, and he had to do that shoot. They wanted to bring him back for some reason, but he couldn't because he was busy doing the Goonies at the time. So what they did was they just set up this like quick rain shower thing in his backyard and let him do the scene back in his backyard. That's how they got it into the movie. But um, yeah, his movie or his family moves into or moves back into their house or whatever, and then some teenagers show up and next door, and Jason, promptly kills all of them. So I don't think this. I don't think these movies really deviate from the plot. I mean, if you're really talking about standouts, you're talking about probably like Jason Takes Manhattan is for crying. No, the New Blood. New Blood introduces that psychic.
Yep. And
That's all they did.
part 5 changes it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's still the same concept though. It's
And then Jason X changes it up.
in space. That's
But
about where that movie goes.
this movie was a success. It was budgeted for 2.3 million.
Mhm.
It made 9.4 opening weekend and grossed
Mhm.
36,690,000 worldwide.
Yeah, I think they did say that this movie was successful because they. You said it was budgeted for what?
2.3 million.
Yeah, I think it made that like within its first weekend or something like that. It was very.
Opening weekend it made 9.4 million.
Yeah, they they definitely got it back. Um, yeah, I mean movie, the movie itself is it's an okay movie. I mean, it's not scary. It's really hard to be scared. And actually, the the 3D effects, the 3D cameras and stuff, they only could do them in bright lights. That's the only way they could really work, and that's why most of this movie is shot during the day and in really bright settings. It's not a very dark movie at all. Um,
No, it was very bright and always in a barn. Everybody loved that
yeah,
barn.
yeah, everyone kept going to the barn like it was some sort of special place. I mean, even the bikers were going to the barn like, "Wow, this is. I want one of these. It's a barn." And Jason was just hiding out in the barn. Why was he hiding out in the barn? Maybe because his little shack wasn't good enough anymore.
Yeah, or he couldn't find his shack.
Yeah, why was he in the barn? They just show up and he like hangs out in their barn.
And like there were
That and the,
so many shots where he was like standing in the doorway of the barn that you could clearly see him from the freaking house.
yeah, they were like right there by the street or something right there in front of the barn. And that doesn't make the Shelly death make any sense because you see Shelly with the hockey mask after he scares Vera or whatnot by the water there, and then he goes into the barn like everyone else does, and he's got the hockey mask and he's got the harpoon thing or whatever, and he goes into the barn and then you don't ever see him, and then Jason comes out wearing the mask, shoots her. I think Chuck ends up getting killed within this time span. And then while Chili, who is Chuck's girlfriend, she's looking for Chuck. She runs into Shelly, who has his throat slit, and he's still alive. He had to have come up to the house. So did Jason kill him while he was in the barn? Cut his throat while he was in the barn, and Shelly was just like super strong, was able to keep all that blood in before he got to the house within the span of like 10 minutes, or did Jason get him right before he got right in there, and he just happened to put his mask down. He just put the mask down. Jason's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna take this."
I like this mask. It pretty. Uh,
Yeah.
one thing I caught, it was very fast, but I really liked it. It's a very minor thing, but it's when Debbie is sitting in the hammock and she's flipping through her magazine, the Fangoria one.
Mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
remember it because you said, "Oh, look, Godzilla." But the page before Godzilla, do you remember what it said?
Yeah, you had mentioned it was like Tom Savini.
Yeah, it was they were crediting Tom Savini for another movie that he had worked on. And
Yeah, they
I thought that was a good throwback for to him in the original.
yeah, because he did all the special effects in the first one.
I
They
thought
said what at the time that movie was made, Godzilla was what 25 years old. I think is what that magazine said. 25
yeah,
years with
there was
Godzilla. Now he's like 70 something.
man, that's an
Not old.
old dinosaur.
He's not a dinosaur, Jim. He's a mutated lizard.
Same thing.
It is not.
So,
You know, Jurassic Park. They're going. Look at them dinosaurs. Not look at them giant mutated lizards.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jason, what do you give Friday the 13th Part 3 3D?
Oh, this is gonna be
Now remember, you gave the first one a 6 and the second one a 7.
Well, that makes it hard. That
I got
makes
it
it
all
hard.
documented for you.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the. Did I? The key thing is, did I like it more than I liked the second one? I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one a 7,
7?
hands down. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a 7. I didn't like it more than there's certain aspects that I like about this movie more than I like the other one, and then there's certain aspects I don't like. This is Jason in his first hockey mask, so that gets a point. But do I think he's as scary as you know Baghead Jason? Probably not. I think Baghead Jason had a lot more. He seemed to have a bit more personality to him. When he's hiding under the blanket or whatever, and then he sits up and he just kind of has the pickaxe and he's climbs out of the bed. He's stalking up to the girl while she's all pretty much standing there for like I don't know 5 minutes going
Yep.
and he's just kind of stalking up to her. He's got that yeah, he just had he could hustle pretty good in that one too. This one I think he did a little bit of running, but
I think he did more
God it
hustling in this one than he did in the other one. This man was on.
yeah,
He was on the move. He was killing, 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 killing. Like
yeah
he didn't waste no time.
that is a plus in this one is that you have a relatively small cast, like at least I think it was like 8 people
One,
because
two,
you have
three,
like
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
yeah
9, 11 people total if you count the two at the beginning.
yeah I was just talking about our main group. Well, I mean
So you got
11
6 in the main group. It.
no 8 because you had
Oh
four
yeah.
sets of couples.
Oh yeah.
You
So
had
8.
4 sets of couples.
Then you had the 3 bikers and then the 2 at the
Uh,
beginning. So
yeah,
13.
I mean there of course he killed the people in the beginning. It was a bit slow going. He killed the bikers off pretty quick. But once he started on the main cast, it was kill, 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 kill. I think you even said at one point you're like pentakill because he was just running through them. It was frightening. Someone was feeding the Jason. Someone had fed the Jason, and he was running with it. There was no stopping him, except when
uh,
you know.
that was
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I give it a 7 because, like I said, there's good aspects, there's bad aspects. I don't think he was as scary as the part 2 Jason, but um, oh god, I cannot get off the remake. I can never get off this remake. That is a scary Jason.
So
But
I give it I give it a 7 as well.
mhm.
So, but for I think another real reason why. I gave the first one a 6.5, and I gave the second one a 7.5. But I think the one reason why this one, the biggest reason for me that this one doesn't beat the second one, is the bad 3D effects that just don't work when it's not 3D. Which I know is a sign of the times, but it's like you said, Rick's death is a key one. Like, it's so fake looking. Like, it's almost as fake as in their first Nightmare on Elm Street when he drags the mom through the hole in the door.
Mhm.
And you know it's fake. You look at it and you just know.
I can I can let certain aspects go. You got Rick's head, which does look fake, but they did make it collapsible so they could keep using it. It wasn't like a one crush and you had to get a new one. They were able to just kind of put it back together and do it again. So it allowed for a couple multiple shots. But when you have, um, I hate the fact that I can't remember that guy's name. I'm gonna have to look it up real quick.
What
But
guy?
the guy who does the handstands, I just feel like I should know this. Andy.
Yeah.
Uh, I think this movie gets a pass on the Rick part because Andy's was pretty good. I mean, you get to see a body. I mean, you don't get to. You kind of get to see it fall apart, but when it's up in the rafters, you get to see like the whole kind of split thing going on. Um,
And I agree with that part, but it's the 3D effect
yeah,
of the head is what puts it a little bit lower for me. Not the kill itself. Like the kill is great. I love it. But it's that 3D effect that they're trying to achieve that just looks cheesy and corny when you watch it in 2D.
yeah, that does make sense. I mean, it is a product of the times with the whole 3D effect. Everyone, um, I think everyone at the time was probably starting to get onto that 3D bandwagon. Like everyone was trying to do the 3Ds, and I think 3D movies, at least for me, they're just not something I'm into. I don't want to sit there with glasses on my head and watch a movie. Movies like today, oh, you got to watch it in 3D. It's really great in 3D. I don't want to watch it in 3D. I want to sit there and just be able to enjoy the movie without some sort of thing. And this this movie is probably why, you know, I don't know, just it's the 3D effects.
So let's move on to one of my favorite parts of the podcast, the Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, my favorite.
So you want the tomato meter or you want the audience score first?
We always go with the tomato, I think, first. So let's
We
go with
usually
that.
do. Hold on. 7%.
7.
7.
This is a 7.
7. Try
Like
8.
like like single digit 7.
7. For all you
No.
people who know Friends. Yes, single digit.
Yeah, the people on the audio ain't gonna be able to see
I know,
that.
but still.
Oh, I do not agree. I do not agree at all. I think this should be at least an 8.
7 on the
No.
tomato meter.
I would at least personally, I think probably like, oh, probably like maybe like a 60. Yeah, 7 just seems weird.
So one person said, although the Friday the 13th Part 3 works on an instant gut reaction level, I don't think it can really be recommended to anyone but hardcore Die in the Wool fans.
Hmm. Hmm.
No originality.
Well, I mean, they did get that. There wasn't any originality to this. It's just, you know, same old killing in the woods.
Uh, so that was a tomato meter and audience score 42%.
42%.
Oh, and the tomato meter, I agree. I disagree with this. I think it should be at least in this 75s.
75, that's a bit high.
You said 80.
No, I said like 60 something.
Oh, I think the 70s. Same with the audience score. I think it should be around the 70s. I don't agree, but
No.
I'm just me.
Yep.
But that is all the time we have for tonight. Jason, got anything else for our counselors?
Not really. Um, just hang around. We're still working out the things for the end of the end of the show. Lead into the next movie. So
Ah, yes, we started that last week where we
yes,
will
yes, we did.
be basically telling y'all what we'll be watching next. So if y'all stick around afterwards for a couple minutes, you'll get to see exactly what we're going to be watching on Movie Night Monday and talking about next Wednesday. So with that being said, all y'all stay safe. It is getting a little chilly out, so stay warm. We will see you next week. Same time, same campfire. And we hope to see you there. Y'all have a great night.
Later.
3 times before, you have felt the terror, known the madness, lived the horror. But this is the one you've been screaming for. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Jason is back. He moves like a shadow, dark and silent.
Sorry you changed your mind?
He never utters a word. He doesn't even seem to breathe.
Where the hell's the corkscrew?
He simply, mindlessly, mercilessly kills. But now, Jason's reign of terror is over. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Friday, April 13th, is Jason's unlucky day.